U.S. Supreme Court has a conference today, and we could find out if they're going to take an Illinois case banning firearms on Monday. So we'll definitely be clicking refresh whenever they do that order list at about 8:30 our time on Monday. But today, they're going into conference, and one case that they could be dealing with is a challenge to a ban out of Cook County that ultimately wrapped in the Illinois ban. So let's get to that and also look at some of the status of firearms litigation across the state. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning for more here with The Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com and get the latest headlines in your inbox. So if you go to the U.S. Supreme Court's website, you will see that they've got their calendar. And the calendar, it shows today, green. What is green? It's conference days. And what does that mean? They're going to get together and they're going to discuss whether or not they take certain cases. So today being the 5th, you've got a conference day. But Monday, the 8th, you've got argument days set. So you also have order list issuance. And I think on the 8th, as you can see here, we clicked on the 8th, they are going to release an order list at 9:30 their time. That's 8:30 our time on Monday. And what exactly could they be showing us? Well, we could be seeing the Veramontes case, which has cleared the appeals court after clearing the district court and is now ripe for the U.S. Supreme Court. And back in August, after the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals sided with Cook County on upholding their prohibition of owning certain types of firearms, the plaintiffs in this case, the Veramontes case, they decided to take it to the U.S. Supreme Court. So they filed a writ, and the court then eventually distributed it to conference last month. So again, that conference happening today. So this is the Veramontes case. And we've discussed here a bit about some of the lower court's rationale, essentially indicating that it's not a great record. And that could mean this is pure speculation. I am not an attorney. I am merely a reporter who's watching this and has been watching this and the trajectory of all of these cases over the past, 2-3 years now, as Illinois had a ban put in place January of 2023, and all the conversation before that in various, municipalities and jurisdictions that were having their own bans, like Deerfield, Naperville being another one. We'll talk about the Beavis case here in a moment. But then, obviously the state enacting the gun ban in January 2023, bringing all kinds of litigation. So the U.S. Supreme Court looking at the Veramontes case, which started before Illinois banned firearms. It was a Cook County-centric case. The lower courts heard that. The appeals court heard it, and then it went off to the U.S. Supreme Court. So that's what we're going to see possibly Monday, what the U.S. Supreme Court does. But I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. Supreme Court says this case isn't ready, and that they point to another case, the Barnett case, that's pending in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. And people have been asking throughout the week, hey, any updates on the Second Amendment? Well, you've got this case that's still in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals after being heard September 22nd. That's the Barnett case, the case where the district judge sided with the plaintiffs, saying that the law was unconstitutional. Now, what's different between the Barnett case, which has Harrell in it and the State Rifle Association and a variety of other groups, 4 different plaintiffs groups all together in this case from the Southern District, where they had a 4-day bench trial in 2024, and the judge there said that the law was unconstitutional, and then goes to the appeals court. Appeals court sat on it for months. The plaintiffs were like, hey, we need some certainty here because we have a judge saying it's unconstitutional, but you guys aren't doing anything about it, and we're sitting here in limbo. And then the appeals court says, okay, we're going to hear it. The appeals court hears it, and that's where we're at right now with the Barnett case. But it's got a strong record, and some of the court filings throughout all of this in all different cases indicates that seems that they're all waiting for the Barnett case, including the Beavis case, because the Beavis case has a filing back in July that we talked about, where essentially they said that they're going to withhold hearings and the case shall remain stayed in the district court pending what happens in the Barnett case with the appeals court. And you've got a hearing that's a joint status report that's required in the Beavis case the 15th of this month, so 10 days from now, there will be a status report in the district court of the Beavis case. Now, the Beavis case also coming before Illinois banned firearms statewide. The Beavis case coming out of Naperville with law weapons owner Robert Beavis suing the city of Naperville back in November of 2023, I believe. District court preliminary grounds, there are certain actions that are taken, and then it goes to the appeals court on those preliminary grounds, went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court on preliminary grounds, now it's kicked all the way back to the district court. Beavis eventually wrapping in the challenge to the Illinois law into his case as well, so it's both state and a local challenge that Beavis brought. So we're still waiting on I guess the Barnett case to ultimately come to full fruition out of the appeals court and then go off to the U.S. Supreme Court. How quick is that going to happen? Again, once you're in the appeals court, you've got a 3-judge panel. And that 3-judge panel is what heard the case Barnett v. Raoul back in September. Now, could they, whoever is the one that's defeated in the appeals courts, request an en banc panel of the appeals court? So the entire appeals court, not just the 3-judge panel, but the entire appeals court? It's possible. Will the plaintiffs do that if they lose? They have the option to request that en banc panel, but they also have the option to go right to the U.S. Supreme Court. So is that the trajectory we're on? Or does the appeals court, the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, 3-judge panel, side with the plaintiffs on this, and the state has to make that decision? Do we go en banc, which would take more time? Honestly, it would, even if the 3-judge panel makes a ruling and it goes against the states and they uphold the district judge saying it's unconstitutional, you have the state having the option of going en banc. How much more time that would add on to getting this completely dealt with by the U.S. Supreme Court, still uncertain. So a lot of things pending here when it comes to the gun ban challenge. But today, you do have the U.S. Supreme Court going into conference to deal with the Viramontes case. Again, a case that started before Illinois banned firearms. It was challenging the Cook County ban. And that case has been all down the court system. It's out of the appeals court. It's in the U.S. Supreme Court's hands. They will decide, could we find out Monday, if they're going to take that case. So that's where we're at in all of this. And we'll do what we can to keep you updated here with Illinois in Focus Daily, all right? So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we break things down for you and get the headlines in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com and sign up for the newsletter today.